Welcome to the Wonk Podcast. This week we have Andrew Baxter, the mastermind behind Bleach Media Official. We talk about creating a brand and surviving and thriving on Instagram. Enjoy.
I was born out here in Redondo Beach.
Oh.
And I was in Redondo for 3 years with my parents, and then they moved to Arizona. And we're kind of done with the LA phase of their life.
What age was that?
For me, it was 3. For them, my parents are much older, so they were already in their like 40s when I was even a youngin'. Like, my parents are much older, had me at an older age, and I'm an only child. So I was like the only kid with much older parents, but they're great. They're like super funny people and all. But we moved to Arizona when I was 3, and I consider myself like pretty much an Arizonan. Grew up there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of skateboarding, got into film and stuff,
yeah.
or what? How did the film come
So
about?
film actually came from skating. Was the original thing.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
That was with Grant Smith, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just started from like back when we were like 14 and 13 to 14, all those skate videos were really hitting. And that was when skate videos were the viral videos. Like CKY was one of the first viral videos that you had to go, look in a store to skate shops to find, or like get a copy from a friend, something like that. And we would just pour through that. And that was a mix of comedy and skating. And then we would go try to, film our own tricks and be goofy, literally jump into bushes off ramps, the exact,
Yeah.
And yeah, so that really started me with a camera and just kind of like messing around on, I think, like Pinnacle Studio 7.
Oh, I had
You
Pinnacle.
remember that?
I had Pinnacle.
Yeah, so that was the very first. And then I did little like stop motion tests and things like that, but never thought much of it. I was like, hey, I like skating, I like film. I always thought music was going to be my thing, so that's what I really worked hard for every day.
Wow.
Training like guitar and bass guitar, and I just wanted to be like a rocker, basically.
Yeah.
And then in college, it kind of circled back. I like filmed and took some film classes. Didn't get into the college program, but wasn't really vibing on it, and just kind of made my own stuff for fun. Was doing more music. And then when I moved out to LA is kind of when that all came back full circle. So I came out to do music originally and like tried to start some bands, was playing shows.
By yourself you came out?
Totally on my own.
So you move out and you're
No
like, who wants to be in a
contacts.
band with me?
Yeah.
Wow.
What was I thinking? Yeah, I moved out. Just a little backstory on that for anybody listening who might be like, hey, I want to go to LA or whatever. I moved out cold. 0 contacts. Knew nobody. I have an uncle and cousins who live out in TO randomly, like down the road. That was all I knew. I had 0 jobs, 0 place to stay. Dude, I went and rented like this really shitty little spot in Chinatown with like dust all over the walls and stuff. Stayed there for a week and a half while I found my next 1-month place to sublet in Silver Lake, and then booked a job and started applying to gigs online and Craigslist.
Booked a music job. What kind of job did you book?
No, it's funny. So I actually did graduate with a degree in marketing.
Oh.
I don't know much marketing.
You're
I guess
great
you
at marketing.
Right. That's what people are saying with the Bleach, but I'm really bad at company organizational marketing. It's just not my thing. So I had jobs like that was more actually video marketing, even when I first graduated school, so I came out, and in LA I did everything from like social media for like record upstarts, which went horribly, worked for people, got underpaid, hated it. I did SEO when that was starting, like AdWords and things. Totally hated that. But basically did what I had to do to get cash to like stay afloat out here. And so I came out for music, and then I got cast as an actor. I just realized I'm not talking too well into the mic. I'll get better at it. And then I got cast as an actor in things. And I went from, starting on a first couple little acting gigs, and I had always been into that, to like getting put in movies that were indie movies, and then we were screening them at Hollywood Film Festival. We almost won that. We were going to Fox to screen at private screenings.
Wow.
and all these big places, and it was hyped. And I thought I was going from like 0 to 100 real quick, and I was like, yeah, all right, I moved out and got, had nothing and got in a movie right away. And then nothing really happened with it. It got super hyped, and then I think it got picked up by a big VOD company, but it never really became like a...
What movie was this?
It was originally called Mischief Night, and then now it's, I think, on VOD is As Night Comes.
Oh.
So they had to...
That was a good choice, baby. Good job.
Yeah. But, that was kind of my introduction to like a real film, real set, modified low budget, like $500,000 probably. Great actors. They taught me like what to look for in great acting and seeing some great performances. So that kind of like was the deal. And then I got on enough sets where I started seeing the finished product versus what we were shooting. And on a lot of like the shorter form indie stuff, I'm like, oh, I think I could deliver something of equal or maybe hopefully like a little bit better value aesthetically. So that's kind of how it all started in terms of like the current filming. And if I'm talking too much, man, let me know.
No, you're supposed to talk. I'm not supposed to talk that much.
So from there, it was like I was also, so in context, that shitty SEO job I had, I hated it. I would go in every day. I just didn't feel good about myself because I was spending 9 hours a day doing something I didn't like for money so that I could work, on the weekends to film and do stuff I wanted at night. And after a year of that, they fucking fired half the company just one day. And I was like a good employee, and I understood that I've always been good at like computer programs, and they just straight up fired half the company. And I was like, oh shit, like I put in all this time for these guys and just got dropped. That night I got a call from the people on Mischief Night. Mm-hmm. We had been shooting it on weekends and some nights due to funding, what they had available, and they said, hey, we just got funding, are you free the next 2 months to shoot this? That was that night I got fired. And I said, yeah, I just got fired, bro. Like, yeah, I'm around. So then I spent the next 2 months of like night shoots and, really bad hours and food and all that, but learning. It was like how I kind of
getting paid
and got paid. I did get paid. It wasn't huge rates, but I totally got paid. Right. And during that, I started doing freelance videography gigs. At a very low level, just getting started. I shot weddings. I've shot, whatever you name it around town. Like I've probably filmed it as a videographer. And so that's kind of how it started branching out. And I was like,
when did you get your gear? Did you always have gear? When did you get your
No.
first camera?
So Cole, my buddy Cole Jenkins, who's like one of my best friends, who we have known each other before even LA. We were in bands out in Arizona, and then still are friends, but we were roommates. He had an extra like small camera, and we went on the road and filmed this band and did this little docu-series for like a psychedelic rock band that was super dope. And so I just started on that little camera, and then when I was kind of reached the next thing from that, wound up, a couple months later just getting the Mark II when it had been a couple years out or whatever. And then that became my camera for a good 5 years. Every day we would just film sketches, film skits.
You bought the camera, you're going to use it.
Bought the cam. we put it to use, man. Like we have so much stuff of just us dicking around with mostly all improv. So there's some that hit and some that are just kind of like, what is that? But every day we didn't stop, dude. I haven't stopped since then. Like right now, as a continuation of all those things I started in 2012, I would say is when it really kind of like the skits and the comedy really started. And then even during that time, I was going to Groundlings. I was going to iOS. I've done classes, all that, and just never really found a class or a thing where it was like clicking.
Yeah.
Like whatever's happening with Bleach to me is clicking because it's just me.
Yeah.
And then people are liking it now. But back then, nothing clicked. I would have a good class here and then not flow as well on the next class.
Like a good acting class, or
yeah, or like Groundlings class 1 was great. Loved everybody. I like think I crushed it, or was one of the better performers, comedy wise in the class. Then in session 2, didn't gel as much with the teacher, the students. It got really cliquey, and I think for Groundlings they want amazing actors.
Yeah.
They're almost more like, hey, less comedy for level 2. It's like you got to be a pro actor, and I'm like, that's just not me. I'm just trying to have fun. And strangely enough, every class I've gone to, I've always felt like, my friends are funnier. Or I've been lucky to where, well, not lucky, but I've been out in the scene to where like stand-ups and stuff, I know them. I'm like, these guys are genuinely funny, and they don't, there's different kinds of humor, right?
They're funny in themselves. Like, the funny comes out of them. It's not taught into them.
Yes, exactly. And they're just funny just going to get a coffee, dude. Like, they're fucking cracking me up. Not because they want to crack me up, but just because, like, that's how their brains work.
Yeah.
And they're chill. And so I really respect that kind of humor. And then maybe if you could find a way to bring that into a scene is where I think it gets interesting and original. So, yeah, I did classes. And dude, I've been through just 8 years of nonstop hustle to find anything that got a little traction. It could go more in depth on all that, but just to summarize in the last couple lines, and we can get into whatever as a reference. But so then I started getting good. I worked a lot as a videographer editor, and I mean, I was taking the gigs nobody wanted. I worked harder. I worked more hours. I work while I'm on other work. I'm editing.
You just don't say no.
When I started, I didn't say no because I was like, I don't have room to say no. Like, who the fuck am I? I'm nobody, and I'm still not anybody. But back then, I really didn't have any room to say no. So I did all that and started getting better, and then getting more jobs, and more people, bigger people wanted to hire me. And then as an editor and DP, I even went to work for television and shows like that, and cut a season. I worked for BET a lot and Viacom, cutting seasons of a show.
Wow.
And then other specials that were hour-long, huge specials. And after I did years of that, then I said, I want to cut some Goofy D'Elia videos because that makes me laugh. And I was like, why don't I just do my cuts that I've been doing for network people or whatever, and put it out on Insta where everybody's at, and not get notes and have anybody yelling at me. If they want to share it, cool. But, I got nobody basically telling me this sucks, this has to be cut. It's like, hey, if you don't like it, don't share it.
And that's exactly what they do. So it's either quiet or
or it's like, hey, this is the one. And at the end of the day, D'Elia has that thing. He's like, hey, it's an app. Okay. So that's my view at it. Instagram is a tool. It's not my long form projects, and I hope that anybody who's down with the jokes or kind of comedy style, or comedians I just show, because it's not really about me for Bleach. It's comedy in general. It's a love of comedy page that I put some of my projects in, but I'm basically oh, these guys are really funny.
You're a historian, bro. You're a comedy historian.
Yeah,
right
I'm
now.
documenting podcasting right now, and maybe later on people will be able to come back and get highlights from that, or be like, oh, I love that bit, and then I saw this Bleach thing years later, not right now, because it's happening. So
yeah, they did that on Rogan. Somebody did a cartoon for Rogan's, and he brought it up. He was like, oh yeah, they made this cartoon.
Yeah, there you go.
So your stuff is gonna be referenced.
It's crazy. It's in the mix a little bit, and I think on a surface level, it's these goofy bobbleheads, but if you really look down into the philosophy of what is media, what's something new, what's a scene, how do you enter a scene, almost like a music standpoint, where it's an artist is going to get big when they champion a subgenre or come in on a subgenre, I feel like. And a lot of the times the first 2 or 3 artists to really champion that subgenre become known as the innovators of that.
Yeah.
And so Bleach, on a philosophical level, is trying to take more narrative and actual scenes and apply them to this Photoshop art culture. And that's really not done in the media right now. The most I've seen that are becoming very popular are all these sports ones now. Every day I got people sending me, is this you, bro? This you? They copied you, which they didn't copy me. I don't own that style, but they for sure didn't create an all original scene with audio and do so there's different levels, but I kind of, even though Bleach is goofy baubles, there is something that's a little different, and I think that's why people are why it's getting a lot of followers or whatever. Not like that means anything, but if people are fans and they want to laugh and watch the videos, I'm welcome to have anybody on board who's down. And I get people who are down, and now I'm starting to see the other side of.
You do a good job of like talking to the people that aren't down too.
Yeah, clap.
Like, oh, cool, bye.
Yeah, I do that. I think Matt D'Elia started the whole K thing, so that helped me out on a few. And then
you just write K?
You just write K.
Yeah.
You just write K-A-Y. I had somebody who insinuated I do the, whenever, it's funny, it's like whenever I put the guys on a girl's body, what's so funny is it's so stupid, but that could be considered edgy at all. But if people want to assume like this is weird, or they can do all that and talk about it all they want. Yeah, but some girl is like, oh, you just want to keep women down and never have them accomplish anything because D'Elia's face is on a chick's body, or something stupid like that. Which I respect her opinion. I shouldn't say something stupid like that, but
okay,
it's okay. Okay. So got that one, and then, yeah, dude, it's like, there's a great one last night. Somebody says, do they call it Bleach Media Official because they have to bleach their eyeballs after watching your videos? This guy's name was like Larry Sparkin, and I clicked on his profile, set to private, of course, and he's an electrician. I said, gee, Larry, I don't know. Do they call you Larry Sparkin because when you go to fix people's plugs, they still spray sparks over the wall?
Nice. When we were doing the music video, I remember I was going to have my friend try to do what you did. I said, hey, can you do this? Like, your style was something I was trying to imitate.
Sweet.
And so I was like, wait, what am I doing? I even told him, like, I'm just going to ask him. I'm going to see if he could do it.
Yeah.
And then you did it, and it was super dope.
And that led me to my current gig.
Oh.
Two parts on that. One is the day after you asked me that, or maybe 2 days, because it was during the holiday season, I think. I saw an Amazon commercial come on that used mouths on the boxes. 2 days after you asked me that, I'm like, oh shit, maybe commercially I could be onto something if that continues and things like that. So really all the stuff I say that will happen to Bleach is kind of out of my control. I mean, I can day to day put in the effort, but a lot of bigger forces are at play. And then second, because of that, Dermer hit me, and I think he saw, collaborating with the Want guys who he already knew, and then this guy could do some music video, like, let me reach out to him. So I think that video
dope.
was directly the influence, if not a huge factor.
Hell yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, that wasn't your first collaboration with Wonk.
No, we did the series, which I dropped the ball on by the end and didn't it's
because this was going on,
dude. It got so busy, man. It just like, even now, I'm all on every day. It's like right now, no weekends off for me, and especially with the projects, it's like morning to night. When I hit the pillow, I'm like, I get in time to chill with my girlfriend and take that time, but beyond that, it's straight up working all day to make this thing happen. But yeah, with the original series we did, that was dope. And I had been looking for opportunities on Insta. I was like, whatever. I could post photos. We're filming this, we're filming that, post sketches every once in a while. I was doing that for years, and there was no real response. And then through Wonk, I was like, oh, cool. Here's something we can shoot as a pilot, see if this works, keep filming it. And then during that time, I was also putting out a couple little things, and then I think they started really taking off to where it was just like, oh man, this is crazy.
Yeah.
The numbers and the response I was getting from people who were DMing me and all that. And so I kind of shifted more onto that side. And what's also nice about those is there's no calling people for production. I don't have to bring my gear, shoot it, edit it, pay money, do all this. It's me in my apartment. I do a little something and throw it out, and then that's it. And it gets like
your timeline too, huh?
Timeline is quick, dude. It's quick, and then it's like you never know what's going to be the one that pops, you know?
Which one was the one where you figured out, like, oh, shit, people really like this? Was it the sailboat one where he's Jack Sparrow?
That was the first one I ever did. And that one's already so I made that one in July, as I think I was just listening to, like, Theo, who I knew Theo from before. I was listening to his podcast this past weekend. Leo was on it, so I was
You did a music video with Theo, right?
I did. So I knew Theo from Ari, who was the lead in all the Snowblow series that we filmed for Wonk to put out on that. And Ari Manis, he's a comedian. He has a podcast called Unlicensed Therapy. And he also rents his studio out to like a bunch of LA comedians who I'm sure you've all heard of, like Mike Lenoci, who's Crystalia opener, things like that. So he set me up with Theo, and I filmed some projects with Theo, one of those being a music video where we did a designer parody and he rapped about hamsters instead of panda. And it's really dope. You could check it out. It's literally called Hamsta.
Hamsta.
On YouTube.
Yeah.
Yep, Hamsta. And so I thought it came out dope. Simon Rex was in it, who at the time I was a real big fan of, like Typical Rick, all that. So it was kind of like, for years I've gotten to work with all these cool people before any of the stuff was really popping off. So I listened to Theo's podcast with the Leo on it, and they made a little comment that was like, hey, you're a pirate, dude. Like, D'Elia, you are Jack Sparrow. How you're just sailing into an island. So I was like, oh, hey, that's pretty funny. I wasn't even in town. I think I was in Arizona at the time. I was like, I'm just going to put D'Elia's face on Jack Sparrow and put it up as a silly little joke. And I was like, yeah, I could probably put it on the movie clip if it just punched in on him. So then I did that. And then I said, yeah, but what if he made that noise that was like the yaw or whatever, the beautiful singing noise. And then I put that on. I was like, that's fucking funny, dude. And then I said, hey, I could add Logan Paul's face on the one of those other dudes, the shipwreck guys out there, and kind of like tie that in. So I put that up, didn't think anything of it, went to sleep and woke up, and it had like all these views for me at the time. This is and I've spent money on videos, dude. Like I've invested into things and done huge productions. I put out this little one and people were like, LOL, commenting. D'Elia liked it, which for me is cool. I mean, I know he likes and supports people who are doing art for him, but also like I think D'Elia is down with the humor. So for me, that means a lot because, it's really about the love. So anyway, that happened. Didn't think much of it. A couple months later, did another one and started doing a couple more. And then he shared one. And that's when it really kind of changed for me, where I was like, oh, cool. Like, he doesn't just think it's like a little funny. Like, he feels comfortable putting out a piece of that content for his audience. And that was cool to me, man, because like, all those big gigs, Viacom and all that, don't really, for me, they're really important and formed who I am, and I want to go back and work there. But like, the comedy is what I'm in it for and why I'm like doing all this. So to have somebody you really genuinely think is funny share it meant more to me than like a paid gig or something like that. Yeah. And once he started sharing them and the fans started really, like, it started happening quick. People were following, commenting, interacting. It just kind of took on a life of its own. And then fast forward to today, it's just like, it's not the biggest thing, but for that niche world we're in comedy wise and just like little artists and groups, like maybe some new trails are being blazed for ways to like navigate in there. But it really was just like an everyday effort, and some days I'm hitting it, other days I'm not, but I'm trying to go at bat when I can. Now that behind the scenes it's taking off more a little bit, it's doubly crazy because like the project with Dermer I'm doing, that is going to be a next level thing that I got to really spend time on.
Yeah.
And those Bleach ones I do that are good really take a lot of the day.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to navigate now. It's like, okay, I got to keep Bleach going.
You got to get an assistant or something, bro.
Yeah,
you got an empire to make.
I got some people helping, here and there, like intern and stuff like that, who I'm paying like occasionally just to help me post. But I'm stretched so many ways right now that I'm just really trying to navigate each. There's been a lot of stages since we last spoke on it when it was at 5.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize some of the responsibilities that like go with that when you get a group of fans. And I could just say I don't give a fuck and all, but I do care. And I want people to, like that's why I'm doing it. And that's why I respond to when I can every comment, is because I want to shake every fan's hand or whatever.
Yeah.
And not fans, but just people who dig the work or whatever. It's important for me to really make it feel like, dude, I appreciate you. Like, there's a real thing happening, know? So I don't even know where the fuck I was going with that.
That's all right.
Where were we on that?
Just talking about the
listening
bobble. And you listen to what what was being successful and what was working, kind of.
Big time. And I had spent years, bro, like trying so many things. I've tried in film and comedy and this. It's been like constantly for 8 years an experiment.
Well, you were on Funny or Die and stuff too, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, even acting-wise, back in 2015, 2016, I wrote and starred in something that Funny or Die put on their front page, and it was a 16-minute short film, which they never do it anymore at all. But that was back when, I don't know, but it was just, and I made that with Cole and Mike Green, another friend of mine who's like one of my best friends who I knew since kindergarten, is now my go-to dude out here who gets me projects, got me the Viacom gig. So it's like a real small world. But yeah, I've been doing that for years, but this really took off in a different way, and I listened. Yeah. And I knew from having read enough and having watched it happen for other people, it was just kind of silly. It was with the bobbleheads, but the universe was telling me.
And you told me at that concert.
I told you.
At Magical, you're like, hey, man, sorry, but like something's happening with this thing.
I didn't even know what it is. I still don't. But what's crazy now, and we can get more into this, and I really did want to tell a little like thing to the, anybody listening who's like younger and all. It might take a little bit, a little more backstory. So a lot of the idea and philosophy of Bleach is actually based on EDM, which growing up as a younger dude, I was very much like diehard rock, not as much electronic music. And I was very much like resistant to that new thing happening, which I wish I wasn't, because like I work really well on my own, and that's the philosophy of kind of EDM and remixing. But Bleach is essentially the EDM of comedy, is a joke I like to say, and I'm DJing because I'm remixing things that are done, and I'm mashing this up with that, and I'm doing things people love, two different things, and blending them. And some of that philosophy I started getting was through my current girlfriend, who her little brother is in Louis the Child, which is this like really successful electronic duo for their age, like 21, and they're practically, they like sold out. I want to say the Shrine, 2-9, like they're huge in EDM. Like if you're a young kid in EDM, they know them. And I was like, man, they're so successful. And I chatted with them, and in 2 seconds I saw, they're just in it for the love. That's it. It's just the love, doing what feels good to them, and then this beautiful thing like evolves out of that. So that really changed my whole philosophy, and I was like, the older you get, the easier it is to get sucked into, you got to do this, you got to do that. You can go out and as a young guy, I'm trying to figure out, how do I make it? So I'm asking questions to people, getting opinions. And when you get opinions from a lot of people, you get their hierarchy of what they view the map as and like who to go to and all. And it was overwhelming. So I was like, I'm never going to get anywhere on this, bro. Like, I could get in the Viacom, do that, and that's cool, but that's not my goal. Like, I want to create something. So during this time, I'm like, oh, they only do it for the love. And so then I was like, I'm going to start putting out videos on Insta that I love with comedians that I love just for the love, not for money. And just keep refining that and doing things that I love. And then, dude, when I started doing that is when my whole life shifted. Every single thing in my life shifted. When I started doing what I loved first, I wasn't, right now, I'm not clinging for gigs. I'm not like, oh, maybe I know someone who could get me in Viacom to do that. Dude, the amount of people I have now following me and like reaching out to me are literally my heroes, bro, of like these comedians who I've admired for like over a decade. And now they're following me, commenting it, liking, sending me DMs.
They're fighting over you too, kind of.
Well, yeah, I guess. Well, you know, that'd be nice. I don't. Hey, man. That would be nice. But so to the reason I'm saying that though is the shift in attitude of doing things and like the roadmap other people laid to just sitting in my room doing something that I loved and sharing that with the world changed my whole life, my love, my energy. And now these huge opportunities are coming, and they're ones that I would never have gotten had I done the traditional method. So I think Instagram, if anything, people can learn is a tool for, you know, you got to put in the work outside of Instagram. I think that like the video stuff, I'm not just someone who learned to edit in my room and did that. Like I put in my days and 18-hour sessions, getting yelled at by 5 producers, feeling sick, wanting to go home, but cutting until 5 a.m., leaving the next morning when a cut's got to go out. Like I've put in those hours. Now that I have, putting that amount of time into something for me is really where it started like shifting everything. And that all started from the mental change in me to say, hey, I'm going to do something I love. Just like Workaholics. That vibe is something when you get 4 people who love what they do and they're friend, you know, it's not really like you can't plan all those little things, but when it's there, you recognize it. And, you know, you want to like cultivate some love in there. So that's one thing I would just say for young people, do your work, get the jobs, do that, but really fight to get that time every day to do something you love. And I know it sounds cliche and not definite. It's more abstract, but it changed my whole life in the last year for sure.
That's awesome, dude. Fuck yeah. What's next for you, man? What's the plan? I
mean, I have ideals, but I don't think I'm kind of one of those people who thinks the world doesn't owe you anything. So whatever my ideals are, I don't expect the world needs to provide that for me. But what I'm working hard towards, so I said like last year, I mean, I never thought it could get anywhere near where it was now. I think the highest thing on Instagram, like followers wise this year, that would be insane, because I'm going to shoot for the stars. If I land on the moon, that's fine. But I would say like my mantra is like, as a joke, kind of, it's like 100K this year.
I think you could do it.
Yeah. I mean,
you did like 20 in a month and a half, right?
It's been getting crazier and picking up at a bigger rate, but it's the thing is, you know, it may seem like from the outside it's all figured out, but dude, I'm experimenting. I'm trying it out. As Bleach evolves, maybe the content would change, not in the humor, but you know, if I'm working on this like big music video, I can't go back and cut my stuff 9-hour days, but I can provide a sample of, you know, like a sliver of comedy that's like a chunk of that to keep people interested. And then maybe, you know, with Bleach, the idea is long form, dude. Like I'm trying to sell shows.
Yeah.
I want to be a creator of a television show and animated. What a more perfect thing for me to do. I can't stand typical production, if I'm being honest. On film, it's fine, but I don't want to do like right now the Workaholics thing where they were up at 7 a.m. for fucking 8 years. That's a lot, bro, and that's tiring. And these comedians just don't have time for that. So my ideal would be, I'm working to write some pilots right now and maybe go to these guys and say, hey, do you think it's funny? First of all, do you have any interest in it? It's low commitment. you show up, you live your life, you show up maybe a couple hours a week to read lines, and I do the rest, so that would be where I'm looking in terms of development with that. And then on Insta would be, just growing it, because like the more the word gets out, the wilder the opportunities become. And I wouldn't be opposed to doing something if it was even just Bleach, but I found a way to like monetize that, not from the content, but maybe merch or like, something. But also I'm listening to what the fans want, so it's like if I hear in the wind online, people are already, since I started months ago, have been like, where's the pilot, where's the asking me for it,
where's the longer form thing.
Everybody's like, I'll pay to see this on Netflix, I'll fund you with this, I'll fund you with that, in terms of like, personal contribution, like a GoFundMe, which I haven't really wanted to wade into that water yet until I really explore like maybe what's possible without that. But that's nice. And what I would say to anybody looking to start a series that's different about this one than any other project I've done is people are already asking me for it. And that puts you in a whole different ball game than coming up with something and putting it out and seeing what sticks sometimes, or you know what I mean? Like Snowblow, was a great series, but people weren't DMing me like, I got to see the next. They got confused based on my writing just because I didn't maybe weave it, or it was too narrative and not standalone. Nobody was asking me for it. But with this one, people are constantly there, and the hype is there to, if it happened, like I could see it realistically happening in some point, maybe. So that's the plan for Bleach, is like this music video. So if nobody knows, and I want to like properly set this up, but I'm collaborating with Brandon Dermer. Did I say collaborating? Like, what am I saying? Collaborating with Brandon Dermer, who's a great director. I mean, dude, his list of music videos and his work.
Heavy hitter.
Dude, I'm not. Bleach is like a little, bobblehead compared to the work that guy's doing. And then I cut some stuff for him from Tiger Belly when I was checking out clips, and like the people what they say about him and shouting him out, I was just like, oh my God, dude. Like it was so wild that he reached out to me, because he's like wrote the book on a lot of the EDM comedy stuff I love. If my Bleach ones, I touch into that scene, and I mean, like, I just want to basically crush this project, so he calls me back to keep working. But I got a lot of work to do on this one, obviously. And so we're doing a music video for Dylan Francis, who he collaborates with. So they're directing, and then I'm editing, animating.
Oh, they're both directing?
I think so.
Wow.
I don't know that for sure, but I'm pretty sure. I think so. And so, I got to finish that, keep Bleach going, write the pilots with all. It's just, getting crazy, but I think right now is the time. It's like I'm not well rested, but I'm doing what I can on the daily, and I don't anticipate it's going to be that forever. But right now, it's all full steam ahead. Workaholics, can I say on record, is one of my favorite shows of all time.
Say it, man. It's dope.
Workaholics is absolutely one of my favorite shows of all time. Me and my friend Cole Jenkins, who I said was my roommate, have watched every episode multiple times. We watch every single video for mail order comedy and studied it. We didn't just watch it for fun. I may have seen the pilot 35, 50 times, line for line. I know every single beat in there. We rewrote it on our own scripts. We tried to see what's happening in Workaholics.
Yeah. So
hard, dude. We would be like, how does this work? How does this line feed to that? Probably overanalyzing it.
Yeah.
And then you get, but from that, it's like Kyle's done all this, so he's now directing films with huge movie stars. It's so crazy. I don't think the sleep ever comes. I don't know,
no,
but
it's just a different anxiety now.
So I'm learning. I think I'm trying to figure out how to maybe manage that, and I'm still not anywhere near that level, but from what you've seen, like I don't think it ends, right? You just got to learn to find your chill in the craziness.
And the successful people don't want it to end. Once they don't have anxiety, they're like, "Oh, I'm
bored.
I'm too comfortable.
I've
plateaued."
Yeah.
I need to climb and get this. I need more anxiety.
Yeah.
I need to be scared of something.
Yeah.
I need to be
It's
scared.
like you taking the project yesterday. You're like, I need to have that.
I gotta have a project.
Yeah.
I'm
the same way. I'm the same way, man. I don't. Yeah. I like to create even more than watching. I have to be making something, and I've just always been that way, whether it was film or not. What is has Kyle ever? Is he a chill? Like Kyle probably doesn't let that get to him, or he doesn't. Kyle just seems to me like he does. Yeah, he's the coolest.
Kyle was always meant to be like the leader of shit.
Yeah.
Like he's the captain, man. He's the fucking team captain.
And I feel like with them, it's just natural. It's not like a forced thing because like they were shooting from what I understand, that wrestling stuff in the day. So it was always an extension of who they are versus like fighting your way into being it, just like natural.
Yeah, they were always surrounded by it. Like Blake, Kyle, and Kyle's brother. Like Kyle's brother shot a bunch of this stuff. So it's like they were always surrounded by people that they knew had their back. You knew Blake was going to bring the funny. You knew, and even their other friends that aren't on the show, like Teddy,
still funny guys.
Like Teddy's hilarious. Josh Wolf, all of those guys are all fucking. Matt Camerzell. Okay. You don't know him. Not many people know him, but he's like, he kind of looks like me. He's one of the funniest guys.
Okay.
And then Adam. When Adam, Adam came out.
Hey, that helps a little bit.
Yeah. Adam came to Orange County to OCC with this guy Austin Anderson.
Okay.
And so like they had each other, like they were always bouncing off each other. Yeah. Austin was the person that Adam was living with and that he came from Omaha with, taught me how to edit on Pinnacle, which you were talking about.
Wow.
Taught me how to use Pinnacle. So like he would shoot everything but before we knew Kyle, it was me, Austin, and Adam for a little bit.
So you knew Adam before Kyle.
I believe I knew Adam before Kyle.
Wow.
I think I knew Adam.
Didn't know that.
I think I knew Adam before Kyle and Blake knew him.
Jeez.
We all met in the same class one day.
At
Orange Coast College.
Oh, so you went to OCC too?
Yeah, we all met in an improv class.
That was a class in college.
Yeah.
Improv.
Dude, we were the only people at OCC to ever have our own like sketch comedy SNL show. Like they gave us our own night of straight up sketch comedy.
Did you know at the time that like these guys are going to be big, or was it?
No, I thought I was the funniest, like for real.
You were like,
I knew I was.
Adam. Yeah, you were like, he's funny, but I'm funnier.
I was like, he's funny, but like I'm funnier. Blake, I was like, he's kooky, but I'm funnier, and like I knew it.
When did because like with Bleach or whatever, it's like you get a little spark or whatever. But did you guys? When was the thing? Maybe what sketch did you see it put together where you're like, hey man, this is gonna go on TV, and not only be on TV, but be like a really great single camera comedy sitcom? Because for me, I look at it in my hierarchy, single camera wise.
Definitely
would be Curb. Started the same for me that I enjoy is like that Curb style, and then next in line was Sunny, and then for me the next on that tree extension was Workaholics.
Yeah.
So that's like how I view, in Arrested Development, all those great shows which are more ensemble and have narrative written in and voiceover. I look at it as like side ones, but Curb, Sunny, Workaholics. When it was going on, there had to be like. I just feel like you get these little glimpses and you're like, oh my God, like this feels like a show and not my friends. Like when did that happen? Or did it ever?
Nah, it never really happened. They always just seemed like my friends. Like,
and then what do you think had them? I mean, obviously the content, the writing, the pacing.
Well, I mean, they moved to LA. I stayed in Orange County. They took at it as more professional. Like, it looks like they're having fun, but like they took it as like
serious,
and they believed in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like they believed in themselves personally, and then as a group.
Right.
So like, I mean, I think that's it right there. I mean, they were doing when I saw Theme Addict. Remember Theme Addict, where like Adam sings "Whatever Happened to," sings all the theme songs.
Yeah.
When I saw that one. That's when I was like, that was my favorite sketch they ever did. When I saw that, I'm like, this is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
All the other stuff, I'm like, yeah, it's good. Yeah, sure, it's good. I mean, I'm making funny stuff in my garage with other people too.
Right.
Like, I still, honestly, I felt like, oh, like
You
guys
were funny.
I was like, you guys are doing this over here, I'm doing this over here.
Yeah.
When they did thematic, I'm like, damn. Like, this has like some production value. This is like, it's good acting. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good pace. I'm like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're like, they're hitting this
it.
next level
They're hitting, and then
for
like,
them.
yeah. And when the first season came out, I'm like, it's a good show, and they cared about story. Once I saw that they were caring about story and not just like punchlines and jokes, I was like, this thing could last for a long time. I think that's when I first did, because I was big into story back then, and like fucking Campbell and all that shit. So it's like once I saw that they were into
Joseph Campbell.
Yeah.
Oh wait, who? Yeah.
Yeah, not Bruce Campbell, Joseph
Yeah.
Campbell.
Campbell's soup.
They were really focusing on story, and I'm like, I didn't know they had this in them. You know, I didn't know that they had like storytelling in them. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if that came from, Durs being a writer to really help with that, but the whole thing, man, was just mind-blowing. And when it went on TV, I think that takes a life of its own, where it's like it just hadn't been seen before in that way, but super wild. And then like on the offshoot of that, and I was thinking about this the other day, is I'm like, Adam Devine's career is really fucking crazy to me. To like even hearing this about like them messing around in the garage, to like what he's doing in movie. He's like a huge movie star, dude.
He's a movie star.
He is a movie star. And when Cole and I were like studying all these mail order and all that, I always thought, man, Adam has the potential to like be this, and he really worked to do that, and like and from everything I heard, audition while they're doing Workaholics. So I can only imagine how crazy the workload would be. But when I see that now, and I'm just like, oh my God, bro.
That's a dude that would never let anything get in the way. Like that's one thing that I
like
did.
How so? Like he is dentless.
He is 100% dentless. Like, and I didn't realize that until a couple years ago.
Is it that he isn't affected, or he
He's
just
like
doesn't let him
He's
get
a shark. It doesn't like, he sees a goal and he just goes after it. Like he just fucking he puts blinders on, and just goes for it. Like and I realized that a couple years ago, and I really 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 respect that. And I'm just like trying to take that into like myself. I'm just like, oh, it's all about the art. It's all about this. Like, no, man, it's like fucking, you got to fucking goal and get that shit.
And get that goal. And then over time, that becomes this huge thing. But yeah, I see some of that, and it just blows my mind, bro. And I've never met the guy, but I'm so happy. I almost feel like I'm rooting on that team, because I was like a fan from back in the early days, just to see how far that went. And like Durs is like, I love all those guys, and just to see it, man, it's just fucking insane to me. It's like, it's basically my blueprint is kind of like, these guys are my heroes, man, for making a show and then taking it, to that next stage of the movies and all. Because like, who doesn't want that to be, the thing?
They did it, man.
They did it.
All those guys that are like sitting in their whatever garage, sitting wherever, and being like, "Oh, this could be us." They did it.
They did it.
And they're good guys. Like, they really are. I'm not just saying this because they're my homies, but like they're always down. They do the podcast and shit like that. You know? Like, I kick it.
I don't know how they have time.
They make time because
they make time. That's the thing. Yeah, they make time.
For little old TK, that's what they do.
Big old TK, dude.
Big old
nothing
TK.
Little on that.
That's my man, dude.
Big T.
Yeah, man. Well, it's great talking to you.
Yeah.
Bleach Media Official. It's actually inspiring Wonk. Like, you're inspiring Wonk for real.
I appreciate
your social media awareness, and like the print the imprint you're making.
Yeah.
Is like. And to watch it happen organically, and watch it happen just like, and watch you listen, like seeing that you're listening to what your fans want and seeing how that's actually paying dividends is dope.
Thank you. Yeah, it is that. Just listening, and that's a mutual respect on that, dude, because Wonk is essentially where a lot of this all started. I mean, I had nothing, man, when I first came to Wonk. So I wanted to shout out a couple people for a minute on Instagram who, do really great artwork for all these podcasts. So when stuff was starting to get a little bit bigger, this group kind of formed called the Comedy Content Collective, and it's basically just a banner collective of artists who do really amazing work for all these comedians in their podcasts. So anybody who likes my stuff is probably gonna, like their photo work and video work as well. And there's a lot of laughs, and it's all just kind of us joking around for these different memes and stuff. So go to Comedy Content Collective on Instagram. And to anyone who listened, I really, hope you had a good episode. Shoot me a DM, as long as you're not an asshole.
Wonk Podcast. Andrew Baxter, a.k.a. Bleach Media. Thanks for listening, and make sure to check out our YouTube. We have a couple music videos coming out from Fade Out, Bye Bye, as well as all the dope live stream stuff we're doing. Thanks, and see you next time.